Speaking of the ocean, 2 weeks ago we made a joke about peeing on a jellyfish sting as a means of pain relief. We were told that is a myth. It won't actually provide any pain relief if you urinate on a jellyfish sting, and this was actually, the myth was started by Jacques Cousteau on his short-lived 1960s prank show, Jacques. Worth the wait. We are off and running. I made a joke and a closer look that Henry Winkler stole the Fonzie jacket, and someone said he couldn't have stolen the black leather Fonzie jacket because he, Henry Winkler himself, brought that jacket to the Happy Days set from a previous film he had done called Lords of Flatbush. He did this because he actually thought the original jacket, which was sort of a red windbreaker, wasn't cool enough to play Fonzie. So apologies to Henry Winkler. He did not steal the jacket from the set of Happy Days. He stole it from the set of Lords of Flatbush. All jokes aside, Henry, who we love Henry, he recently auctioned off one of the original Fonzie jackets to raise money for a great charity called This Is About Humanity. Do check that charity out. Maybe make a donation. It's a great cause. Henry is not just one of our favorite guests, one of our favorite actors. He is a wonderful human being who will steal from sets. I guess I also incorrectly called his character the Fonzie. It's either, obviously, it's either Fonzie or the Fonz. It was the Fonzie on the Russian remake of Happy Days called This Days, While Not Happy, Are Still Days. Who can forget that iconic theme song? Monday, Tuesday, these are days. Wednesday, Thursday, also days. Hey, this is a lovely gift someone sent me. Did you guys know this whole time we've been doing this, there is a New Jersey Jackals, or an independent baseball team, that I think we're in Montclair and now moving to Paterson, New Jersey next year. And I guess because they were moving, there was sort of a fire sale on Jackal merch. And so I got this little fella here, and I think he's just gonna be a fun addition to the whole Corrections family, you know? I'll say things like, are you enjoying Corrections? And that's what we call a special effects budget. We mentioned a worm in a bottle of tequila. We were told it would be mezcal. Well, it's often misrepresented as a worm. It's a moth larvae. But I will say, I've had some mezcal in my day. If you drink enough, you can't taste the difference. We had a joke about the life expectancy of men in America, and we said it's currently 76.1 years old. This was the graphic we showed, and somebody said very fairly, this is a terrible graphic because if where the arrow is now is at 76.1, that means that the original life expectancy is like over 1,000 years old. So thank you for that heads up. We do like to get our graphics right. Nobel laureate. I pronounced it laureate. That's a bummer to get wrong because it's a smart thing. And if you want to seem like a smart person and you call it a Nobel laureate, kind of playing yourself. And I was making fun of somebody else. That's a bad look. It's like saying, check out that rocket scientist. Ooh. We named some Minnesota towns. I said Owatonna. It's Owatonna. This was based on the fact that Mike Lindell got arrested at Hardee's in Mankato. And then we said Arby's in Owatonna. Got to get it right. And then we said Jack in the Box in Oconomowoc. And at the time, we have a fantastic producer at the show named Emily, and Emily said, just FYI, there's not a Jack in the Box in Oconomowoc. And we were all like, nobody's gonna say anything. Y'all did. I guess we've got a large amount of viewers from Oconomowoc who are very upset about the fact that their town doesn't have a Jack in the Box because a lot of you came out and said that. The problem is, a Jack in the Box in Oconomowoc is just too much fun to say. And we weren't gonna let the facts get in the way of our fiction. We just liked it too much. It was also late breaking, I should say. It was a Fuddruckers in Lake Minnetonka. And then about 5 minutes before showtime, Bays came up with a Jack in the Box in Oconomowoc, the same way Bays always does. You think he's asleep or dead, and we're trying to come up, and he just sort of rises up. A Jack in the Box in Oconomowoc. And then while we're laughing, he just very slowly... But I just wouldn't be too picky, because a lot of people say, oh, late night's so political these days. Why can't you all be more like Johnny Carson? A Jack in the Box in Oconomowoc is the most Johnny Carson thing I feel like we've said in a long time. A Jack in the Box in Oconomowoc. Have you been to Oconomowoc? Go to Oconomowoc, walk off your Oconoma. Do you get that? Do you like that, Ed? I think you have to hold the base. All right, we're learning. Well, get a close-up, Alex. Don't miss this gold. All right. Ooh, talked about if you found a survivor on the Titanic, and I said, wouldn't it be a great screenplay would be if there had been a survivor who was 110 years old, and you went down and you had to decide, would you bring them up? And a lot of people said, well, it actually sank 110 years ago, so a survivor would have to at least be 111 years old. But other than that, the screenplay is perfect. You guys, it turns out there was a movie, a TV movie in 1981 with that basic plot called Goliath Awaits. Did you ever see Goliath Awaits, Shoemaker? Does that ring any bells? It would have been the kind of movie you'd watch because it won on cable. Mark Harmon, Eddie Albert, Christopher Lee, and it was basically some oceanographers. They find a shipwreck, and our good old friend Mark Harmon goes down, and I guess through a porthole sees a beautiful woman, and goes back, and he says, hey, there must be an air bubble or something because there's some survivors on the Goliath. That was the name of the ship. And well, I don't have to tell you anymore. Let's see a clip.
There, did you hear that? That is an SOS.
Yeah, I hear it. I just can't believe it.
Thank you, Robert Forrester. And it's a little unfair because obviously we want you to come back for corrections, but I do think we'll be showing a new clip from Goliath Awaits, 1981 Goliath Awaits. It was 2 nights. It was a 2-night event. Went back and read some reviews. They weren't great. But sometimes time helps. Great art. I referred to the Queen as our monarch. You all pointed out that she was not my monarch. I should not have said our. With one of you saying, who knows, maybe Seth just outed himself as an undercover British spy. To which I say, well. Looks like the game is up. We've had a nice run, though, haven't we, boys? If this is the end of things, I hope if you don't mind if I go out drinking the Queens. I kept you on your back heels long enough. Mispronounced certain words to make you believe I was an American. Nobel laureate. But now the game is over. I'm regretting my closing joke, but I feel I'm pot committed. I want to make it clear that this is a joke I wrote. This is not a sponsorship. It's just a closing joke. The game is up. Guess it's time to go home and collect my twinnings. See me next week.